presentation. I would just like to inform you that this presentation is being recorded via Zoom. Today, as in the past 23 years, we will take an opportunity to remember Sister Anne Honig, after whom this award is dedicated. Following that, we will announce the recipient of this year's award. This is the first year we are doing this via Zoom due to the COVID-19 pandemic. This has truly been a disruptive time in our lives, but I hope everyone has been able to find opportunities to grow closer to God during this time. Unfortunately, we will not be able to gather after the event. However, upon the conclusion of the presentation, you may pass your congratulations on to the recipient via the chat feature on Zoom. Now, a bit of information about the award itself. In the winter semester of 1997, the Newman Theological College Students Association, in conjunction with the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis, established the Sister Anne Honig Award to commemorate the life and service of Sister Anne Honig. The award is given annually to a student who demonstrates outstanding service to the student body and dedication to the Newman Theological College community. They are recognized as exceptional by their peers. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge and thank the many family members of Sister Anne for joining us via Zoom today. One blessing from this pandemic is the ease with which we are able to connect with many family and friends with these online services. We really appreciate you joining us today. To help us remember and pay tribute to the memory of Sister Anne Honig are members of Sister Anne's Order, the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis, who are joining us via Zoom. The sisters represent the many members of Sister Anne's community who have a deep love for and connection to Newman Theological College. Members of Sisters of Charity of St. Louis used to live in a wing of the former NTC building on St. Albert Trail from 1976 to 1982. Many took classes at NTC, were very involved in the daily liturgies, and participated in community life at the college. And one sister was a faculty member for a number of years. Today, Sister Pat Derbyshire will help us understand the spirit of this award by telling us a little bit about the woman in whose memory the award is given. And at this point in time, I would like to invite Sister Pat to please unmute herself and to give us a presentation about Sister Anne.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure to be here. And to the members and the faculty and staff of Newman Theological College and St. Joe's Seminary, and students and friends, and I think there's some members of Anne's family here as well today, welcoming them as well, and who are joining in this Zoom presentation. It is very good to be here once again. So as Chris mentioned, this is the 24th year that the Anne Honig Service Award has been presented to a student who made a difference in the life of the college. And as a longtime friend and Anne's sister in religious life for 25 years, I'm very happy to be able to speak about Anne, in whose honor this award is being presented today. In preparing this, I came across some other information about Anne that I never knew. So this is a little learning for me as well, and I'm sharing a little tidbits of this new learning. Anne and her 6 siblings were born in Kelowna, BC, and later returned to a farm near Weyburn when Anne was 8 years old. Here Anne spent her childhood, and during this time developed her talents for art and creative writing, and I believe her prairie and farm roots shaped her largesse of spirit and her simplicity of life. Now this is something I didn't know that I discovered in our own archives, that at this time, while on the farm and helping on the farm, Anne wrote prose and poetry for the Western Producer paper, which is published in Saskatoon. And she also joined a club for young writers and made a pen name to be used. And she called herself Silver Cedar, a creative name. And a quote from Anne about her writing at this time, she said, "I used the themes of beauty, goodness, and truth, which represented for me who Jesus was." So when Anne left home, she had already been thinking of religious life and realized she needed to complete her grade 12 if she was to follow this call. While working and doing odd jobs, she completed grade 12 and was ready to move on in her life. So she made her initial commitment as a Sister of Charity of St. Louis in Medicine Hat in 1968. Then completed her B.Ed degree at the University of Calgary, and for the following 25 years ministered in Saskatchewan and Alberta as a teacher, religious education coordinator, and then a Catholic chaplain at the University of Calgary. And at this time, too, she was also involved in the Winter Olympics in Calgary and led some prayer events. She then enrolled as a full-time student at Newman Theological College. And for Anne, her theological studies were meaningful, enriching, but her vision was wider than just the academics. As a people person, she gave of herself and her talents to create an ambience, a spirit at Newman that helped to build up the life of the community. She obtained her Master's of Divinity in July 1993, then 2 weeks later was killed in a car collision near Maidstone, Saskatchewan. And every time I think of this, it still brings tears to my eyes. On that day, July 27th, she left the sisters' residence at the college in the early morning, en route to Saskatoon to a new ministry as chaplain at St. Thomas More College. She was very excited about this new opportunity. In this same summer, she was to celebrate her 25th anniversary of religious profession. Her untimely death at the age of 48 is certainly one of my life's mysteries. It was such a shock to lose one of our gifted younger members, but the spirit and legacy she left still impacts us today. And as Chris has mentioned, in 1997, the Newman College paid tribute to her, and this began the beginning of the Anne Honig Service Award. I knew Anne from the first day she entered religious life in Medicine Hat, when we were both novices together. From those early years, I soon discovered her sense of wanting to know and her sense of wonder. She was inquisitive, a deep thinker, and loved to enter into discussion on almost any topic. She wanted to know what others thought, wasn't satisfied with the unexamined status quo, and offered creative insight into the topic under discussion. A conversation with Anne was never dull. She loved her studies at Newman, and that was at the former college on St. Albert Trail, where she could probe and search for deeper insights into her faith, her life, her world, and also share academic and social fun times with her fellow students. And I discovered this that I didn't know about Anne too. I knew that she loved dancing, but she also was very creative in the visual arts, creative writing, and in the sacred dance. I discovered that Anne trained in modern liturgical dance. She led workshops and retreats based on sacred dance, was a member of the North American Sacred Dance Guild, and the Edmonton chapter of the International Christian Dance Fellowship. Now, I think she kept those things quite secret, except maybe the people in St. Albert who knew her. I have fond memories of Anne as friend, sister, a woman of hospitality, warmth, compassion, and love for the poor and marginalized. So, on behalf of the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis, I thank the faculty and students for continuing to keep Anne's spirit alive and for gracing her memory with this important award. And to this year's recipient, whoever you are, I congratulate you for your contribution to the life and spirit at Newman. You have been chosen and recognized as someone who has a high standard of academic achievement, demonstrates leadership, who has ability to foster community spirit, and who is a person of deep faith and committed to justice, just as Sister Anne was. So we, the sisters, congratulate the recipient of this award in memory of Sister Anne. And thank you all for being with us today via this unique Zoom award event. And I'm not too sure who is here from Anne's family, but if there are members from Anne's family today, raise your hand. Ah, thank you. There they are. Welcome. And then, so I want to conclude just with this thought. I think it kind of sums up Anne's life. The learned will shine as brightly as the vault of heaven, and those who have instructed many in virtue, as bright as the stars for all eternity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Pat, for sharing the memory of Sister Anne with us and for sharing these new tidbits that you have discovered about Sister Anne. On behalf of the Student Council and the Selection Committee, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the many students at Newman Theological College who generously dedicated large amounts of volunteer time and energy to building up the college community and on campus this past year, in spite of the demands of studies, jobs, families, ministry, and pandemic. Now I would like to invite the president of Newman Theological College, Dr. Jason West, to present the 2019-2020 Sister Anne Honig Award to a very worthy recipient and tell you a little bit about them. Dr. West.
Thank you, Chris, and welcome to you all. It's an honor to be here with you today to make the award presentation this year in this different format that we have. The Sister Anne Honig Service Award is given annually to a Newman student chosen by their peers who demonstrates the following characteristics and qualities. First, they have an attitude of service and have been a leader in the college community. Second, they foster a community spirit here at Newman. And third, they demonstrate a Christian spirit to all. We're pleased to announce that this year's selection committee has found all of these qualities in one of our students. I want to tell you a little bit about our 2020 recipient of the Anne Honig Outstanding Student Service Award, Jonathan Quist. Jonathan was chosen by this year's selection committee because he exemplifies the spirit of Sister Anne in his quiet and humble attitude of servant leadership and his commitment to fostering a sense of community at the college. As one committee member noted, Jonathan is known for his friendly manner and for his ability to make students and guests feel welcome at Newman. He also definitely exemplifies the Christian spirit in his kindness, caring generosity, and concern towards others. One example of how Jonathan expressed this caring was when he regularly checked up on and visited a new lay student who fell ill and was hospitalized at the end of her first year of studies. Jonathan served on a student council for 2 terms. In the 2018-2019 academic year, he volunteered to serve as Vice President Student Life halfway through the year when the student in the position had stepped down. He threw himself into animating student life by gathering students and faculty together for a number of social events, including coordinating music and luncheon for the Christian Week of Prayer for Christian Unity service, coffee with the saints for feasts of Saint Marguerite Bourgeois, the conversion of Saint Paul, Saint Cyril and Methodius, and the solemnity of Saint Joseph. He also organized a blood drive for students, a lunch and learn, a faith uncorked, and numerous luncheons for NTC events. This year, Jonathan demonstrated his strong collaborative leadership skills in his service as student council president over the past year. As one committee member noted, during his tenure, he was doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes by supporting and promoting the projects of other student council members, as well as taking on a lot of work himself. Jonathan spearheaded the Apologia Project, a new student journal and newsletter, as well as continually demonstrating leadership by taking on tasks that did not necessarily fall under his role, but that others were not willing to do. He often attended and volunteered college events, even when others would not show up. He also fostered a sense of community spirit at Newman by a welcoming presence and an example of leadership, as well as demonstrating his support of college events by attending the Liturgy of the Word led by lay formation students. In conclusion, as one committee member said, Jonathan's contribution to the college was significant. However, a lot of what he did was less visible. And therefore, I think in giving this award to him, it would be an opportunity to acknowledge his quiet service to the college, his fellow students and seminarians. Jonathan, for all you have done to lead and foster the spirit of community here at Newman Theological College, our community wants to congratulate you as the well-deserved recipient of this year's Sister Anne Honig Service Award.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. West. Jonathan, I'll ask you to just stand beside the plaque here while
Okay, great. Yeah.
we say a few final closing remarks. We are grateful to the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis for acknowledging the dedication and commitment of Jonathan for the Sister Anne Honig Student Service Award, not only by recognizing the student, but also by generously providing them an award of $1,000. I would like to thank you all for joining us via Zoom today for this presentation. If you would like to pass on congratulations, again, to Jonathan, you may use the chat feature located on your Zoom window and offer your congratulations to Jonathan. I would ask now that the Sisters of Charity of St. Louis, as well as the family of Sister Anne, to remain on the Zoom call for a brief chat with Jonathan. And for everyone else, I thank you very much for joining us today, and I wish you a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you.